The UN were in Cambodia to organise free elections to determine the country's path for the future after decades of war, and were responsible for safeguarding and promoting human rights. Up to 20,000 UN personnel from 49 countries were to carry out the mission at a cost of $1.6 billion. The elections were held in May 1993 with a voter turnout of 98% of the 4 million voters enrolled. And it was the first time in the UN history that they organised and ran a full election.
Let me introduce myself. My name is Ken Horsfall. In February of 1993, I arrived in Cambodia, a country almost destroyed by over 30 years of unrest and turmoil. I was there to help in the restoration of the Ministry of Public Works and Transport. I was assigned the role of plant mechanic on a 3-month contract and was employed by UNPOPS, the United Nations Development Programme Office of Project Services. I had been invited over to Cambodia by a long-term colleague of mine, Mr. Fred Terry. Fred had come over on a fact-finding mission 3 months before the start of the project. He quickly realised that despite all its consultants, the UN needed some practical input to rebuild the capacity of the ministry. So he called for me help, saying it was urgently needed. The document you're about to watch shows the success of the mission I was involved in, followed by my comments on the corruption within the world of global financial bodies and NGOs, and the ability of these groups to solve practical problems. My contract with the UN was extended for a further 18 months until the program shut down in November 1994. I then stayed on with the Ministry of Public Works for a further 12 months, being paid by grant money for the Transport Ministry. I was promoted to Equipment Manager for all the Department of Major Constructions. During this time I also worked on an ad hoc basis at the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Shell Asia, Belden Asia, as well as many NGOs and private organisations who needed practical solutions for work they were trying to do in Cambodia. This was a unique time in history, as Cambodia was emerging from its horrific past and working towards a more positive future. I hope this film can shed some light on the conditions we worked under and the way in which we went about our work. My aim is to celebrate the achievement of the team of people involved, as well as expose some of the negative aspects and weaknesses of the development industry. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor King, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, Fred? There's a smile. Huh? How are you, my man?
Phải hả?
Tell me you're a film star.
Rất thật. Bây giờ
Film star today. Making plenty of money?
mà lùi mấy hôm nay. Quên đấy.
Con. Con jadi. Hey, my man. How many you got there? Hang on. Take another one.
Merci.
Merci. Very good. I'll get a picture. Merci.
anh chẳng tạo sao bạn đi tóc một mẹ gột nãy á.
Argon. Argon. Okay. Thanks, Mom. My man. Yeah. On a blessing.
Đó ra.
No. My friends. Here, come on. Argon. Soksabay, have a happy day. You're a film star. Hả? On the egg. Huh? Okay. And some rice. Do you want some on? Okay? Okay.
The following segment shows the 5 men that worked for me at that time and their comments on the project. Thank you.
Road number 5. I'll just ask the same question again.
Yes, after Pol Pot, in Cambodia nothing. Even thing that we can use every day, we do not have. Everything we have to import from Thailand. Pipe, a thing that we use at home, rice or other things, we have to import from overseas, especially from Thailand, from road number 5. But the road number 5 very poor condition. Then people travel. You can travel to Thailand maybe 3 or 4 days, and now you can travel only 4 or 5 hours because of the road.
So road number 5 goes from Thailand to?
From Phnom Penh to Thailand border.
So very important.
Very important, yeah. And UNDP, OPS come to fund it. Come to fund the money for repairing rehabilitation road, and Ken as a chief of mechanic. And we have 3 or 4 people to join with Ken. And Ken taught us the Western model.
Are you now quite proud of the work you did on road number 5?
Yes, I'm very happy. Yeah. I always remember that I had done for Cambodian people, especially along road number 5. Yeah, can help us to improve our life, because he showed us what the Western have been done, and he keep to improve our knowledge.
Yeah, can come to Cambodia to work with UNDP, okay, for repairing road number 5 from Phnom Penh to Pok Pieksan, Swai Don Kao. So I also start to work with him, and I also share a lot of experience from him. Yeah, until 1998. So I feel that I'm very lucky that I met Ken, who can help me and share a lot of his experience to me, that I can improve my skill until today. Because he shared a lot of experience to me, and also the good heart that I can stand and holding management for the worker or way mechanic. This one that I learned from him. The road number 5 very difficult. When we want to go from Phnom Penh to Ban Bong, we need around 2 days, sometimes 3 days. Also stuck the Khmer some attack on the halfway, and a lot of the road not good condition. So the truck very difficult to go. So when we finish on the 4 or 5 hours, we can arrive at Mandamore. Easy.
K.O. Chin, my #1 mechanic.
Yeah.
And whatever you hear, how I was teaching him things,
No.
it's actually quite the opposite. When I met K.O. Chin, I thought that I knew everything. As a 40-year-old mechanic being around, I thought I was coming to a country where you know, that we were the people with the intelligence coming in to show these people, right? But this guy knew more about motor mechanics than I did, mainly in the way that he fixed them. He could fix anything that broke down. He's been through a lot. He's had to do that. He's replaced things, right? And I would get things there. I used to say to him that I'll go to Phnom Penh to get the equipment to come and repair it. He would say to me, no, don't worry. But I'd get in it. I was stubborn. Oh no, he didn't know how to do it. I'd get in the truck. I'd drive all the way to Phnom Penh, bring back the big heavy presses and pullers that we needed. What would happen? The machine was going. Right? Gearboxes cracked, aluminium welding. During my trade, I'd been taught how to aluminium weld. You can't weld aluminium gearboxes. You can, with a gas torch. And you tell him this, and he could weld aluminium plate with a gas torch. Very hard to do. And you got to thank him for me now, that he didn't learn from me, I learned from him. Okay, only one thing. So I'm proud to see this man.
Yeah.
Right? We've had a good meal.
Yeah.
He's found peace with Buddha. He went to the monkery for 18 months, I think it was. 18 months. He's found peace. We've just been and seen it. He's a humble man. Right? I wish him well. He also has diabetes, which is, you know, but he'll be right.
And also he just reminded, he said in his mind that when he heard that you come to Cambodia, and he said he remembered him. That's the one thing I just like. But he just like, he couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe what he heard, like you still remember him during the time and work with him and also come to visit him to his house. Yeah.
Good on you. Yeah. And I hope we can come again. I've never seen him angry, that's one thing about it.
Pardon?
Never seen him angry.
No.
He's always calm.
It teach me a lot, yeah. And I learn a lot experience from them, yeah.
And they're still your friends.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The main thing out there was they wanted to learn. See, this is the thing, you guys wanted to learn.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of, like myself and Fred, we were very willing to teach. That's the thing, because if you've got people that don't want to learn, you're really not interested. But not you guys were learning from 6 in the morning to 6 at night, 24 hours. You still know you work 7 days a week, you know. So
you work too hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. They work
now
all the
still
time.
working hard.
Yeah.
Even Sunday and Saturday, night still working.
Why?
Yeah, because a lot of work and conservation had to work without thinking about the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes we have urgent work, we have to go to the field. Yeah. And while I work in on the roading, the same. Sometimes we are working at the night time.
Night time, we work all the time.
Yeah.
Trucks go on time. We just had to. There's urgency, and to get it going, you know, to get the country going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because it made us guys too, you know, appreciate it. And so that's why I wanted to teach it.
Yeah.
And then you get like jokers like K.O. Chin and that, who the older men in the old. That's another thing that we see in those skills weren't lost. So some of those guys were still around after Pol Pot to teach the younger guys, even though they've got manuals and like that, they've got the knowledge to be able to teach them how to fix those trucks.
Yeah.
Bulldozers, Kamar's truck.
Yeah.
Kamar.
Yeah. Kamar.
Zil.
Zil. Yeah.
Bulldozer.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And normally Fred is my driver because I don't know how to drive the car, and Fred drive the car all the time, and he keep explain me on the way how to build a road and how to do good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fred is a good guy.
Good. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
So that I understand how to do the work on the roading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phnom Penh for 3 days in Phnom Penh.
Yeah.
and then I get the car and I come to Persat. And for 2 days I cannot talk to anyone. And then after 2 days in Persat, Shamron comes along, your son, right? And for 18 months, maybe 18 months?
Yeah.
18 months, Shamron lived with me day and night. Anyway.
Before he has 2 legs.
Yeah.
He was a great father.
A great father.
Yeah, in the village. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very rich.
Really?
Yeah, he has a sawmill. Yeah. But when he has an accident, he saw everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. when he got up, he saw his leg was cut. He cried. Yeah. And then.
No, don't worry, Sam. It's all right. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah. The NGOs do come into the countries like this, but what they do is they send people with MBAs with 5 or 6 years university experience or sitting behind desks. But they advertise for all these places degrees, and they come over here and they want some jokers who are experienced in soil conservation or water. All they need is someone who can start a pump up and pump water from A to B. And that's why myself and Fred were so successful in the job we done, these guys, because we went like that. I was the only tradesman out of all the UN guys. Everyone else had degrees, and you only have to look in the paper now and see employment opportunities. And if you haven't got a degree, you're not going to get employed. So we come over here, me and Fred, and we found all these huge problems with all these NGOs standing around, couldn't do a thing about it. And the people didn't take any notice of them because they realised within 5 minutes that they didn't have a clue. So, you know, sometimes like 2 o'clock in the morning when the stop bank's going on a flooded river, you know, we got a knock on the door with a couple of women NGOs. They're saying, oh, you know, how can we, you know, they're in charge of all this water stuff. They've got the degrees and they get us. And I know that one day we just got a whole grader, a Russian-Soviet grader. We just told the guy to keep grading that, keep the soil, and he drove it until it went under the water. And he jumped out and swam to the shore. It's mostly still sitting under the top bank, but it saved this whole village. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, we got a big gang of guys. We called them all around, and we told them to cut bamboo, go and cut as much bamboo as they could. And they just all came in an hour later with all these bamboo stakes, and we drove them into the ground, and started shoveling dirt over. And we saved the whole village from being flooded. And, you know, come back to the job. But that's why there's no development here. We've got the wrong people doing it. You know, and anyone who's got a bit of sense comes over here and sees that. You've got to have the right people on the job, and what we want is practical people, not people with a high IQ or something. And that's just to answer your question. Why aren't they irrigating or doing this water? Because NGOs are sending the wrong people over. Simple as that.
But is there quite a sense of pride you have with doing that practical stuff, not having a degree, but actually being able to help the people? You actually managed to like help the city from actually not getting flooded and whatnot?
Yeah. I think we're very, very lucky at that time that we had also control of the finance. So it didn't take 2 or 3 weeks to get, you know, if you wanted a generator, you didn't have to sign forms and get people to stamp it who wanted to know why that was, and then you have to sit around and explain it, and they'd think it's someone else. We just had the money, it was in our pockets. I don't know how our UN boss done it, but he's got to be thanked a lot for that. He just kept driving them, and he said, this is going to happen. You jokers want something, you get it. And we would just go down to Phnom Penh or everywhere we could, and we'd grab the stuff and do it. And I think that was the success of it. But we knew what we wanted, and I think that our UN boss realised that we were trustworthy, and we got the stuff and we got the job done. Because when we come here, there was nothing, everything was destroyed. And we could have sat around for months and months and months and years like they still are. You know, they've still got people making reports and doing consultancies and stuff like that. All they have to do is get people out here and start working with guys. And these guys will work if they know that the person in charge of them is just as much nous as they have. But if you've got someone coming in, you know, walking in with high-heel shoes on, or guys coming with suits and ties, and that's the problem we had. You know, working up in the roads, come out of their land, he's got suits and ties, and they're walking up and down the road. These fellas who've got nothing, they mostly own a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, realise straight away that there's a little bit of difference here. But if you come down to their level, get stuck in, do their work, pick up the hammer, you know, advise them how to do it if you can help them, and as soon as you can help them once or twice, you're in. and that's why we had such a successful program, along with guys like this, who supplied us with the fuel. Oil was always there. When we got the vehicle, some of them in 1987, so what were they say, 7 or 8 years old, never had an oil change. The tyres were held together, with top rivets and bolts filled up with sand. There was nothing. So it can be done. And the only reason I'm talking about this is because this guy here has just said to me they want rice production, but he just said to me then he's got 3,500 hectares or something like that. He hasn't got the technical expertise, and he's asking me, can you please, like when I've only met this petrol guy now, and within an hour he's asking, can you please get some technical experience, right? To come in, we need the right technical experience. Someone just to go and pump water for them, or someone to tell them how to do it. And maybe the tractor breaks down, they can't fix it, or something like that. I don't know. Just strange to just ask him. He's sitting here, he's got the land. He said he needs it, and I'm just reading through this article here, and it's just a calling for technical experience. Anyway.
Good stuff.
Enough said. Because it annoys me, see. They got the facilities in Cambodia
These are my personal views of the Asian Development Bank, the UN, the World Bank, many NGOs. I'll just give you a few examples. The heads of the ADB and World Bank and UN were very frustrated. Nothing was being achieved. In their foresight, they asked me for help with projects that direly needed it. The consultants had been called in and written their 40-page report, but nothing was fixed. I got the 2 dredgers working in Phnom Penh port after they had been derelict for many years. The consultants in a suit were standing behind me. His quote had been $198,000 US, plus the mobilisation of more experts. I had the first one up and running in 3 weeks for just $9,000 US, with the dredge crew, myself, Mr. Ying Seng, and the help of the port director, the railways director, and a Singaporean receipt book from the engineering supplier. The larger modern second was even cheaper. By simply removing the nuclear volume in the metering control system, it was up and running. The consultant saw the nuclear danger sign, advised quarantine and mobilisation of a nuclear engineer from the USA. The same thing happened with the Shell aircraft refuelling truck station at Phnom Penh Airport. Consultant after consultant could write about how to change the exhaust pipe from the rear to the front of a refuelling truck, but they actually didn't know how to do it themselves. The emergency fire system at the airport fueling storage facility, they couldn't get the pumps going, and yet they were earning an hourly rate of over $300 US. The runway extensions, the neck-long ferry system, the Phnom Penh port bridge and many other smaller projects were farcical. Their offices full of reports. I've seen them and just shake my head in disbelief. There are rows and rows of these consultancy reports. I asked myself what for. Development and NGO work is a huge gravy train. I often wonder who reads these reports. Maybe the next consultant. I'll now go on about some corruption that is involved in. There was a $250,000 US raiding contract from Sweden, where all the machines had to be towed into the opening day inspection river cutting and then towed back to the scrap heap that night. No work ever started on that project. The heads of the World Bank, the ADB Bank and the UN asked me to look into many aspects of corruption, including the receipt for 2 new Hino trucks, $87,000 US. They were just on paper. There were no new trucks delivered. But all these had the right signatures from all the relevant people. The input from 17 new trucks that were actually 5 years old. The buying of 20 new trucks at 20% above new cost. Small bitumen tankers with a quoted price supplied to the Ministry in February 1994 of $8,000 US. The price when I bought them 3 months later was $3,200 US. These organisations order spare parts that are requested by various ministries, only to have them turn up at the local markets. I was the head man on the mechanical side of the department. What I said got done. I had four most wonderful Cambodian guys working for me, and 100% backup from Fred. When I first arrived, I was completely ignorant of Cambodia in its recent past. I did not stay in a five-star hotel, was far from it. I did not enter in corruption all around. I spoke honestly about how I saw things, and I had very little respect for the hordes of consultants. The World Bank, ADB, UN and most of the NGOs were all a complete joke in my eyes. They of course think differently. They're a joke to the complete waste of money, the inability to carry out any practical solutions, the rampant corruption that officers will not stop, and their non-existent response if they're made aware of these problems. The head of the ADB and the World Bank could not stop any of this, even asking me for clarification of receipts and transfer funds, even though I'd proven things to be fraudulent. There's nothing in the system to protect their careers if they blow the whistle. All the receipts have the correct signatures of high officials in the government or in the NGOs. Why is nothing said when 500 tonnes of stone are paid for and only 300 tonnes are laid on the road? Because if it is mentioned, the awarded company will never get another contract in that country. Until the whole system of these organisations changes from theory to actual hands-on rebuilding simplicity, and until they employ practical people, supervised by experienced free people who have protection from higher management, then more and more donor countries will just keep, money will just keep going down and down the gurgler. There's no protection for anyone, and after a few years or even just a few months, seeing this happen over and over again, individuals say, I want a part of that as well. There's big money to be made and it's so easy. I will stop writing at this point about these world bodies and NGOs. Being in charge of all equipment procurement for the Ministry of Transport and having been asked to investigate many issues that occur in other government departments and bodies and NGOs put me in a place of knowing all that goes on. It's also depressing. There is so much more to tell and it's going on all around the world.